Here. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to a regular meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. Today is Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are three additions to the agenda. Under pending legislation, all three are requests for letters of support from Senator Caballero's office. They're all three bills that have some connection to health. One is Senate Bill 524, which is a pharmacy practice bill. SB 621, which is a reducing prescription drug prices for California Patients Act, and SB 870, the Hospital Closure Prevention Act. These came to our attention on Friday about noontime, and apparently the senator's office needs to know if we're going to do this by today, because apparently they're going into committee tomorrow or shortly thereafter.
Okay, so that's the first one. So
the first one would be Senate Bill, letter of support for Senate Bill 524.
524. So what do we want to do?
Do we need to make a motion for each one, or can we just, yep, okay. Move to add SB 524 onto the agenda.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 3-0.
The second bill would be Senate Bill 621, reducing prescription drug prices for California Patients Act.
Move to add SB 621 onto the agenda.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 3-0.
And the final one is SB 870, Hospital Closure Prevention Act.
Move to add SB 870 onto the agenda.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 3-0.
Thank you very much. I would ask our council to read in our closed session items.
Thank you, Chair, members of the board. I'll read in your closed session and would also just remind anyone from the public can speak on those additions to the agenda. Might have missed that.
I was thinking about that, but I was going to do that under the closed session.
Great
after
idea.
you read that, but
All right, so your standing labor item is not on for closed session. However, you have several existing litigation matters under Government Code 54956.9 subsection D1. All four closed session items are existing litigations under that section. The case numbers are listed, and the names of the case are Cardoza, Dalton, Gill, Scoity, Peters, Roberts, Kana, Smith, SWD Investments versus the Madera County Groundwater Sustainability Agency. And apologies for mispronouncing any of those last names. The other is Madera Irrigation District and the Madera Irrigation District Groundwater Sustainability Agency versus the Madera County Groundwater Sustainability Agency. That's a Madera Superior Court case. And the other is Valley Groundwater Coalition versus the County of Madera. The last is United States Bankruptcy Court, Eastern District of California, and that is Madera Community Hospital matter. And the case number is 23-10457. A is in Apple 11. Thank you.
very good. Thank you. Are there any questions from the public regarding not only the closed session items, but also the other letters or requests for support that will be added to the agenda? Hearing and seeing none, nobody in webland,
Nobody online.
we will move into closed session. the Madera County Board of Supervisors. Today is Tuesday, April 11, 2023. Madam Council, are there any items that need to be reported out of closed session?
Chairman, there are no reportable actions from your closed session. However, there are still matters to discuss when you want to retreat back for the remainder of closed session. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. We'll now open and close the meeting in memory of individuals. Do I have any colleagues who would like to remember any individual?
Yeah, I've got a couple. Thank you, Chair. First off, I wanted to open and close in memory of our former DA, David Lynn, who was a resident up in the Oakhurst area for a long, long time. I know David had some controversy down here at the county, but he was always a great advocate for people up in District 5. I think we've got a gazebo with his name on it at our community park, which is a testament to his commitment to serving the community. So just want to recognize him. Also, we had a tragic accident up in the district over the weekend. Paul Pereira passed away after a bicycle accident where he was struck by a car. So his wife works over at Sierra Tel. So our thoughts are with her and her children and grandchildren as well. So thanks again, Chair.
Very good. Thank you very much. Anybody else? If not, we will now we'll have the invocation. We have Pastor Mike Farmer from 4th Street Church, just down 4th Street from us. And then we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Farmer.
Please pray with me. Lord God, once again, we're so grateful to be at this place. We thank you for this beautiful area that you've allowed us to live in, that you've given us the privilege to be here. So many things to be thankful for. And Lord, I thank you for this Board of Supervisors. I ask that you be with them today as they discuss the business of this county, this area, Lord, that you've entrusted to them. Give them wisdom, clarity of thought. Pray for expediency in the matters that are before them. Lord, we just trust this all into your hands, trust in your guidance, trust in your lordship. Amen.
Thank you. We'll now move on to public comment, and just a reminder, public comments first 15 minutes of each regular session that's set aside for members of the public to address the board in any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record. Are there any members of the public who would like to provide public comment?
Not online.
None online, and it looks like we have somebody rushing up here.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board, Rusty Landsberger, Madera County Ag Commissioner Sealer. At the last board meeting, Supervisor Rogers had mentioned about ag damage from the recent storms. And I just wanted to kind of address that a little bit. We've sent surveys out to our growers and we're still tabulating the results we're getting in from those. I did submit a letter back on March 27th, kind of as a placeholder for a disaster declaration, because we do have some flooding areas and we have some hail during the pollination and also during bloom. And so we're following up with that. But currently we are under a secretarial disaster declaration M4683, which covers us. And so any producers we have in Madera County are eligible to go to the Farm Service Agency, and they can apply for Small Business Administration loans for production losses at this time, and hopefully that will be expanded. On the second note, the county ag commissioners, USDA, and California Department of Food and Agriculture are declaring April 2023 Invasive Plant Pest and Disease Awareness Month. So it's a national outreach is dedicated to highlight the impacts of invasive plant pests and diseases on plants nationwide. The focus is on raising public awareness about the threat and how residents can help. Each year, invasive insects and plant diseases cause an estimated 40 billion in damages in the US. Non-native plant pests can hitchhike in untreated firewood, attach themselves to cars, boats, and other outdoor surfaces, or take a ride in the mail. They can travel to new areas on agricultural materials such as soil, seeds, homegrown produce, and plants. So through my office, we're going to update our website and put some outreach materials out so that the public, if they have an invasive pest or they have a pest that they don't know, they can contact our office and hopefully we can identify it. So if we do have a invasive pest, we can get it identified early and take the necessary steps so it doesn't become entrenched in within our communities. Thank you.
Hey,
Sure.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
go ahead, Supervisor.
Rusty, I was going to check, and I just wanted to verify. So through the Farm Service Agency, any farmer or cattleman that's experienced damage over the most recent series of winter storms, that's February, March, or are you referring to the ones in January?
It goes all the way back through January, but it's covered all the way through, I believe, October of 2023. So they have until October of 2023 to apply.
Okay. And again, that's the Farm Service Agency?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And there is a local office here in Madera on Gateway, I believe.
Thank you.
Very good. And Rusty, one other thing. It would be good. I know last week we had an individual from the SBA here that talked about some of the SBA programs. Would those be not that you were listening, you didn't have to, but I didn't know if it was like kind of a similar program or if it's the same program.
I believe they're similar, but I know there's different avenues depending on whether it's structural losses or if it's ag land or production. And I know there's different avenues within USDA and the administration for that.
I wonder if we could get some kind of release through the county in terms of with our public information team. And I see Nick shaking his head yes, so we can work getting something like that out. So very good, because I know we had that one SBA program, so we can work on getting this other information out. So thank you very much for making us aware of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Any other public comment? If not, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Are there any items that on the consent calendar that a supervisor would like to have pulled for further elaboration or comment?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to pull item K.
Okay, all right. Any other items?
I would like to pull items L and N, as in Nancy.
L and N. Okay, very good. All right, well, let's go ahead then and move on to item K, and that's in an agreement with Sonhero in the amount of $964,000 for agricultural land repurposing.
Yeah, it's more of just of a comment because it was kind of a red flag to me because it's almost $1 million contract that's on the consent. So I was a little concerned about that. But just in addition, some of the feedback that I've gotten is when working with the consultant to put the plan together, if we can really amplify and exhibit that public input and stakeholder input is provided and it's included in the plans, because I think that's really important. That's some of the feedback that I've gotten. So I just like to ensure that staff make sure of it moving forward.
Sure, I'll make a plan. Yes, I'll make Jeannie Hobbin, Deputy Director, Water and Natural Resources. That is a $10 million grant. And that was allocated, they put the budget together. So that's allocated for the consultant to do the plan. Also within that grant, there's 4 contracts, 3 of which for $150,000 for Farm Bureau, MAWA, and the Madera Chowchilla RCD for outreach. And so not only are we doing the outreach and Sonhero doing the outreach, but those are specifically, these groups specifically doing outreach so that they can go to the groups that they work with. So it's not just us trying to
Right.
get names and whatever. It's they're going out there and doing it too, so we can get as many people involved as possible.
Great, thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Questions? You good?
That's it.
Very good.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you. Item L, check chance.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Andrea Saldati, Deputy Director with Public Works. This is a cash flow loan for Check Chance for their operational needs to get through the end of the fiscal year. We have done these previously for other districts. This is kind of our end of the year roundup with cash flow needs. So I'm here for whatever questions.
Hi, thanks, Andrea. It was just, and I think we could probably include L and N in this as well for both the special districts. But it says in 2021, staff worked on, presented a rate increase that the district defeated, and we've been looking at other options. So basically, I'm just trying to figure out what is the plan to get them into balance.
So we do have a resolution that adopts 4 mitigation strategies once a district defeats a rate increase. And so we've gone through essentially the top 3. They are kind of non-applicable to SA 14. The last one, we are looking at doing a consolidation with a nearby water district, Madera Valley Water. And so we are going through an application process with the state and to see what the feasibility would be of hooking them up to Madera Valley Water. That's kind of our last option before saying we need to privatize you or you need to be able to self-govern. So we are going through the state application process to see what that would look like with Madera Valley Water.
Okay, thank you. And for item N, MD 33, looks like their issues have been since fiscal year 18 through 19. Or is that basically the exact same issue with them?
Pretty much same issue. Each district does have outstanding debt from ratepayers. So both districts kind of do have outstanding balances that people are not paying. And so we roll those over to the tax roll. That's more of a problem in Fairmead than it is in Check Chance. But same thing, we are going through the process to figure out, what steps are applicable. MD 33 does have a current rate right now. It will expire at the end of 23. And so we are going through another rate study that would encapsulate all of this debt to be repaid in that new rate structure.
Gotcha. Thank you.
No problem.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any other items that a supervisor would like to have further comment on? If not, I'll open it to the public. Are there any items on the consent calendar that members of the public would like to discuss? Anybody in Webland?
Nobody on Webline.
Okay,
Move to
good.
approve.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes, I
Supervisor
Oh.
McCauley,
Yes.
think we had the comment.
Very good. Yes. No, I don't. Oh, we do have a public comment. Okay, come on up. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Sandra Uribe, and I'm a policy advocate for Leadership Council, and I'm working with the region here in Madera. And I did have a couple of comments and some questions for item 5N that I would like your follow-up on. And unfortunately, this is not the first time we see that the residents of Fairmead are struggling with paying their water rates, and this is not beneficial for anybody, the county, the water system, and especially the residents themselves. Consequently, I would like to see a pathway to work with residents to ensure that they are able to afford their water rates, and that the county's plan, what the county's plan is to ensure that the water system does not continue the cycle of debt, and that will benefit the residents in the long term. And my questions are, seeing as this is a cash flow loan, what is the county's plans to repay the fund mitigation? And will this loan accrue any interest? If so, how will this impact the residents of Fairmead and the community's water system? And I'd also like to see some updates on how many households are in debt and behind on their water payments, and by how much. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Any other public comment? Yes.
Good morning, Maddie Mendez, Executive Director of Community Action Partnership of Madera County. Under public comment, I would just like to share that I've been working with Andrea. CAPMC received LIWAP funding for water assistance. But as the state requires the county to apply for payment from Horn, a division up at the state, So if the application comes to CAPMC, we would process it, but the payment has to come from Horn to Madera County. So we're working on that right now. We have funds till the end of June. We hope to contact all the families, do outreach with our LIWAP funding, and for those that are eligible, support the Fairmead, the Lavina, all of the lower income areas that qualify for this funding. So we're just waiting, and we do have the funding already to start processing.
Outstanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maddie. I'm glad to hear that this is for all communities. Thank you.
Very good. Any other comment? If not, I'll accept the motion for, actually, we do have the motion for action and roll call vote.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Walha.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Thank you. Let's move on to our discussion items, and we have a lot of great opportunities today to recognize number of great organizations and groups and so forth and causes. And the first thing we're going to do at 6A is a presentation proclamation recognizing April 2023 as the National Community College Month. And what I like to do is to sometimes we read these proclamations, but sometimes I think some of the key elements get lost in the verbiage. And so one of the things I just like to point out about community colleges, and specifically state-centered community college district, and even more specifically, Madera Community College. Let's hear it from Madera Community College. Yeah, all right. So, and we're going to be hearing from the president, Angel Reyna, here in a moment, but the SCCCD serves over 53,000 students annually at its four-year colleges. That would be Fresno City, Reedley, Clovis Community, and Madera Community in the Career Technical Center. 53,000. That's incredible. It also is committed to providing educational opportunities of a diverse student population. 41% of its students being the first in their families to attend college, which is just wonderful and outstanding. And then all kinds of different certificate programs preparing students for success in their academic and professional lives. And it's some really great careers out there. And I think that the good news is I think technical education and some of these other opportunities are making a big comeback. And people are saying, wow, I can make that kind of money doing that. And it's actually something I like doing. So thank you, Madera Community and State Center Community College, for doing that. And they've seen significant increases in the number of associate degrees and certificates awarded in recent years, outperforming the state average. So that's really an outstanding thing. So with that, President Reyna, would you mind coming on up, and love to hear a few comments, and then we'll present a proclamation.
Good morning, and thank you for having me, Chairman Poitras, members of the Board of Supervisors. I just, I don't know that I could have done a better job than you just did to plug us, right? You got people clapping for us, might have to enroll you or get you a job at Madera Community College. As most of you know, we began our journey to become a college in May of 2019, and July of 2020, we became the newest community college in the state of California, and are still the newest community college in the state of California. And since that time, we've grown in terms of student enrollment. We've grown about 1,400 students, since the pandemic hit to this academic year. We know, as you all know, there's a great need, to educate our community. But I want to express my gratitude and appreciation to each of you for all of your support. When we've had events, whether it's a groundbreaking, whether we've needed support on some issues externally, you all have been there. So we greatly appreciate it. Our students and community don't necessarily always see behind the scenes support that you all have for us as a college. And I would say we wouldn't be as successful without your support. So I just, greatly appreciate it. There's a lot of great things happening at Madera Community College. I'm actually scheduled to meet with two of you, and within one today and one with the next 10 days or so. So I just, want to express our appreciation and acknowledging the great work that community colleges do, because we're in the business of bettering our community, which you all have, selflessly dedicated your lives towards. So just thank you and appreciate you all for recognizing us. And I do have some pennants for you all here, and looking forward to the picture.
Hey, thank you very much.
I don't know if you have any questions for me.
Yeah, right. Any comments from my colleagues? I think everybody, you said it all, and it's great, and we love the partnership, and it's an outstanding thing. And again, that was really a tipping point, becoming a community college. So outstanding. So with that, if there are any members of the public, any comments online? Anybody? Okay, very good. I know what's in your hearts, though. So let's go ahead and join On Hill, and we have.
And for the students, I have extra pennants too. If you're looking to become a future mountain lion, we'll leave some behind for you all.
You guys do it. Yep, thank you. Hey, very good. Well, next, we'll continue on with some really great presentations. And this will be a presentation highlighting the Matilda Torres girls basketball team's outstanding 2023 season. Now, normally what we do is, we read the proclamation and so forth, and then you move up and we take a picture. But I'm going to ask the team and the coaches to come up right now, because when we talk about these things, I'd like to have everybody see who we're talking about. So let's have everybody come up and just kind of line up in front of us here.
They already
I love that the chancellor is actively recruiting everybody as well. That's great work.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah, some good talent here. Okay, good. Okay, I was starting to panic for a second because I was going, where's the proclamation? Then I found out the coach already has it. Okay, so we're good. So I'd like to mention a few of talk about why we're honoring this great basketball team. Number one, they're as everybody knows, Torres High School is a new high school. And so it's this team, this group of individuals is leading the charge to set the standard for future teams. It's a very young team with 3 freshmen who started on varsity, and it says most players are returning next year. I don't know if that means the rest of the players are going to be drafted, go into the portal or something, but that's okay. That's great. So we're going to see some greatness even in the future. The first team to win a playoff game on the Torres campus. They're the first team to host a playoff game on the Torres campus. Coach Villalobos was awarded Coach of the Year for the North Yosemite League, the NYL. Let's hear it for the NYL. All right. And here's the highlight. They reached the Division VI championship game in only their second season. So, I mean, that is like, this group, this team is destined for greatness, and they've already reached those levels. So, Coach, what I like to do is get a few words for you, and if you wouldn't mind going to the podium, whatever it's called. Yeah, podium, and love to hear from you and maybe say some things that we should be aware of.
First and foremost, I want to thank the board for this award. Our girls have been working extremely hard for the last 2 years, including a very limited COVID year, which limited us to what we could do. So, I mean, who knows what, maybe we would have won the championship, but we would have had those extra practices during COVID. But I'm very thankful for the overwhelming support we received from our city board of supervisors. We've had representatives from the city board from Madera. Our admin, our community, our parents have been very, very supportive throughout in this journey. And just to add on what you said, we are extremely a very young team. We had 4 contributors that were freshmen this year on the varsity level, but we have 7 freshmen on our varsity team, three juniors and 2 sophomores. So we have everybody back for the next couple of years. So we're excited what the future brings. And I can express, my gratitude for them receiving this award, something that kind of they've earned, worked hard all year, and we're excited for our future.
Well, very good. That's really great. I don't know if any of my colleagues have any comments, but if they do or don't afterwards, I'm going to go down and have each one introduce yourselves. Just give us your name and whatever else you like to say.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate the ladies of the team. Thank you for putting your time, your energy, and your talents into the sport. And you inspire me. There's not a lot of us who can do that. I was never good at softball, and I played on a co-ed adult league, and I was the one that would always get the outs. So, but congratulations for being a good role model. You inspire me, and thank you so much for doing this in our community.
Yeah, I would like to reiterate that as well. Congratulations, ladies. And I think it's so exciting to learn that you guys are such a young team and that most of you are going to be returning next year. I mean, because the bar is already up there, right? You guys know where you need to be at the end of the season, and it all takes hard work. So super proud of you girls.
Very good. Thank you very much. And Supervisor Gonzalez, I'd just like to say one thing. You talked about making outs. Think how happy you made the other team. Just look at it that way.
I
So
served a purpose.
You served a purpose. There you go. Turn this. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start on this end and ask the coaches to give us their names, and we'll just pass the mic down.
I'm Coach Thomas, and I appreciate you guys and then everything for giving us this award.
Coach Montoya, and we really appreciate you giving the girls the opportunity to be here today.
Coach Mitchell, and I want to also thank you guys for having us here today. And I just want to say, I didn't get a chance to say this earlier, but there is not enough to be said about this man right here, Coach Villalobos being Coach of the Year. And the fact that I know you guys just hear what we're saying, but you guys don't see the hard work that he puts in behind the scenes just to keep this program running, to make this program successful. And, that his award, his recognition is to be deserved. So I just want to just give him a hand real quick. But I'm Coach Mitchell, assistant coach.
And thank you for that, Coach. My name is Jose Villalobos, and I'm the girls varsity basketball coach at Torres. I'm also a teacher for the district. So it's a great joy seeing all you guys here supporting. And again, once again, thanks to the board for the recognition. Thank you.
Hey there, my name's Dolly Arias. Hi, my name's Guadalupe Ledesma.
My name's Kaylin Perez.
My name is Simmer Theora. I'm Shang Lee. I'm Layla Webster. Thanks for supporting us.
I'm Jasmine Garcia.
I'm Nevaeh Chavez.
I'm Ayari Mendez.
I'm Jayla Mitchell.
I'm Sabrina Cerrillo.
So, photographer, how do you want us? Okay, just like this. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Smash in.
Yeah.
Now you gotta all move just a little bit. So now let's do that. Go to your left. There you go. Nice. Okay, ready? Okay.
1, 2, and 3. One, two, three. 1, 2.
And you can sign up with this gentleman from Madera Community College.
Okay, moving on. Item 6C, the presentation of the proclamation recognizing April 2023 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And again, the information in the proclamation is just staggering, and it's very sobering and also just disheartening, and so you hate to hear about things like this. And so this is why we have a awareness month. And nationally, 1 in 3 women, 1 in 4 men will experience some form of sexual assault in their lifetime. There's compelling evidence that in reducing sexual violence through prevention, education, increased awareness, and holding perpetrators who commits acts of violence responsible for their actions, very key. And we need to encourage everybody to start conversations about what that is, how to help survivors connect with services, and to speak out against harmful attitudes and actions. So with that, Maddie Mendez from CAPMC.
Good morning again, Supervisors. Maddie Mendez. With me is Jennifer Coronado. She's our program manager for victim services. She's going to share about some events happening, and we hope to see you out this Friday. And then I will conclude with some information regarding our Madera County Child Advocacy Center.
Good morning. I just wanted to share some information in regards to Madera County. So Madera Victim Services provided 551 services to survivors of sexual assault. 358 were from the city of Madera, 33 from Chowchilla, 53 from Eastern Madera County, and 107 from other, meaning it could be from our prisons or others that were harmed in our county but live in another county outside. I also wanted to share, we have 2 more events to bring awareness to sexual assault. We have a walk a mile, so we're excited to be in person this year, the first time in 3 years. So that would be happening this Friday. Registration is 5 to 5:30, and the walk would commence at 5:45. We also have Denim Day. So Madera County is really great in participating in Denim Day. That's the last Wednesday of the month, which is April 27th. 26th. And that's when Madera County employees are allowed to wear jeans to break dress code and to acknowledge sexual assault, because we've been participating since 1999 due to the Supreme Court in Italy overturning a rape conviction because the victim had to assist her assailant by removing her jeans because they were too tight. Therefore, they said that was consent, not considering that she was 18 years old. Her perpetrator was her driving instructor who took her out in the middle of nowhere to commit this rape, and basically overturning because of her jeans. So to stand with victims of sexual assault, we wear jeans on the last Wednesday of April.
I'm aware you have a proclamation next for child abuse, but one of the forms of abuse is sexual assault. In Madera County, CAPMC is proud to house the Madera County Child Advocacy Center. This is a location where the children are interviewed one time that are victims, that disclose they are victims of sexual assault. And without our partners, law enforcement, probation, the steering committee of behavioral health, DSS, CAPMC, victim services, we would not have this accredited, nationally accredited area. And we hope to expand it. And we hope that with our new funding from Cal OES, that we have the opportunity to have sexual assault exams provided here in Madera County. Right now, law enforcement must transport the children or the adults to Fresno. So we hope to have that locally for our children. We are thankful to the Board of Supervisors for always supporting awareness in this very tough topic.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any comments from my colleagues? If not, any comments from the public? Seeing and hearing none, will my colleagues join me as we present this proclamation?
I will ask if our district attorney and our sheriff will join us in the photo.
One, two.
Okay, I have an item on item 6D. This is the presentation of a proclamation recognizing April 2023 as Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. And I believe, as Maddie alluded to on the last item, unfortunately, these things go hand in hand. And so we definitely want to have an awareness. Child abuse and neglect is a serious problem affecting every segment of our community. It's the Department of Social Services here in Madera County investigated over 2,600, almost 2,700 referrals involving alleged maltreatment of children, and provided child welfare services for an average of 422 children each month in 2022. That is a very unfortunate number, 422 every month. That's a figure that should stick out. The good news is we do have professionals who will investigate those items, but that is just unbelievable. But our social services remains committed to working with our community partners. And again, it's that team effort, sheriff, DA, all the different behavioral health and public health services that go together to provide stability. So we just like to encourage our Department of Social Services with its efforts, Department of the Community, to provide preventative child abuse programs. So with that, I believe we have a few words from our DSS.
Good morning. Board Sharon Diaz, Deputy Director with Department of Social Services. I'm here representing our director who's out today. So Deborah Martinez and our Deputy Directors, Danny Morris and Steve Duckworth. So this morning I have Gabrielle Sibley with me from the Child Abuse Prevention Council. We're happy to continue to support and collaborate with the council through the month of April and all year long. I'm going to let her give a little bit of information on the council, and then I'll give you a follow-up with the events that we have planned for this month.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gabrielle Sibley. I've been with Madera County Child Abuse Prevention Council since November of 2021. I'm fairly new. I would like to start off with sharing some data regarding child maltreatment allegations. And this is from the website Child California Child Welfare Indicators Project. And these numbers are based from January to December of 2022. There was 224 sexual abuse cases in Madera, 410 physical abuse cases, 20 cases of severe neglect, 2,144 general neglect cases, 173 emotional abuse cases, 31 cases of caretaker's absence within the child's home, 188 at-risk sibling abuse cases, and this totals 3,190 cases in the year of 2022. This is an alarming amount of cases, and we hope these numbers drop and continue to drop in the very near future. Children are meant to be loved and cherished. They are innocent and loving by nature. It is our job as a community to protect them. Your local Madera County Child Abuse Prevention Council is passionate about our children and families within the community. We are here to support and educate. So we have been utilizing our Parents as Teachers curriculum for the past year and have around 6 families that we serve at this time. The parents have children that range from ages 0 to 5. This curriculum involves sharing knowledge of child development, understanding parenting strategies that support physical, cognitive, language, social, and emotional development. We also make social connections that involve positive relationships that provide emotional information and spiritual support. We plan on utilizing more curriculum in the near future that supports children from kinder to 12th grade and parents of teenagers. At this time, we provide ACEs training, mandated reporter training, darkness to light, and parents as teachers. We are here to help and make a difference within the community. We are also hosting an event on Thursday over here at Courthouse Park. We're going to provide free food to the kids that come out, and we're going to have about, I believe it's 13 agencies out there to provide more information to help families within the community. So we could just spread more awareness and to let them know we're here to help them. So thank you.
So along with the participation in the resource fair and the good stuff for the kids, which is always the fun stuff, the goal really is prevention, right? So we're looking for trying to put that information out into the public as much as we can. So along with us participating, along with a lot of community partners in this event on Thursday, we will be doing a flag raising and a moment of silence on April 28th at the Government Center at 10 a.m. and at the same time at the DSS Madera campus. This is in collaboration and partnership with the rest of the state who is doing the same. So we will also be doing a pinwheel garden, or we actually already have started that. That's already out in our DSS campus. So we have a pinwheel garden throughout the campus, reflecting the number of referrals that we received. Blue pinwheels are in our little garden area. So we want to thank you for your time. We hope that there's plenty of stuff for people to get from us, to take from us at this resource fair, and hopefully prevention is on the rise and abuse is on the decline.
Very good. Thank you. I just have one question. I think it was mentioned that we hope to see a decline in these cases and continue to decline. What is the trend right now? Are we seeing, have they been dropping? Are they level? Are they increasing?
They're actually increasing at this time compared to last year. They were pretty high in the beginning of COVID, and then it's going higher again.
Any comments from my colleagues? Any?
I'll just reiterate what I say every year. Thank you for bringing this awareness to our community, and I want to thank the staff, the partner agencies, the volunteers, everyone out there who is committed to supporting these victims. It's not an easy task to handle. So thank you everyone for all your efforts.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any comments? Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of echo that a little bit and also acknowledge our teachers who are out there not only working to prevent, but intervene and report, every single day. So it's a tough job, really tough subject. And so thank you guys as well. Thank you to the sheriff and DA for all you do.
Thank you. Any comments from the public? If not, let's go ahead and present the proclamation. And as Supervisor Gonzalez mentioned last time, let's go ahead and invite our district attorney and sheriff to join us as well. Come on up. Yeah. The more the merrier. All right.
One, two, and.
Okay, let's move on to item 6E. This would be the presentation of the Madera County Broadband Study conducted by Madera County General Services and Boston Consulting Group.
All right, good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Anthony Loza, County Administration, General Services. And the item we have before your board this morning is a presentation of the Madera County Broadband Study conducted by General Services and Boston Consulting Group. So just to give you a bit of a background, back in September of 2022, we applied for the LATA grant through the CPUC. And in December of 2022, we received notification that we were awarded the grant for a broadband strategic report. So in February of 2023, your board approved the contract with Boston Consulting Group to work with General Services to provide a strategic broadband expansion plan for the county. And between February and March of 2023, staff worked with Boston Consulting Group to conduct the comprehensive study. So today's presentation will provide your board with the highlights of the comprehensive study and an overview of the Madera County Broadband Strategic Plan and Roadmap. So going into this study, we had one objective and two main goals. So the objective was to develop a broadband strategy, roadmap, and actionable project recommendations to expand broadband access and adoption in unserved and underserved communities here in the county. So the two main goals were to improve physical broadband infrastructure in the county for both our served and underserved residents, and to drive digital equity across the county by addressing service affordability, device access, and digital literacy needs. So the broadband study used existing broadband maps, internet service provider data, and stakeholder feedback to identify broadband access needs. First, our team analyzed public broadband coverage maps from the FCC and CPU, then looked to identify potential and eligible grant areas. From there, we worked with the local ISPs to validate those maps by looking at the region, speeds, and existing assets. This helped us to develop an understanding of the ISP's plans for upgrades and expansions in the county. And we also took part in over 25 stakeholder meetings to address the community's needs. So this next slide represents the data validation that was conducted as part of the study. Now, looking at these two maps side by side speaks volumes. So the map to your left, which is primarily lime green, is the map that represents coverage and speed data submitted by the ISPs to the FCC. Now, one thing to consider is that the FCC publicly reports data at the census block level and considers an entire census block served if at least one building in that census block has served speeds, even if the rest of the census blocks does not have broadband. So the map to your left basically illustrates that Madera County is for the most part an entirely served county. Another consideration is that many funding opportunities rely on this public map to determine funding needs for certain areas. So now when you take a look at the map on your right, this is the map that represents a validation of actual ISP data, which paints a different story. So as you can see, based on the validated map, Madera County is greatly underserved just by looking at those light tan and tan areas on the map. So when I read through the report, the finding that stood out the most is that here in Madera County, nearly 4 in 10 households with children do not have access to broadband, which is the highest statewide. The study also found that about 9.3 thousand households, businesses, and other buildings are unserved or have no broadband technology available in unincorporated Madera County. The study also found that about 22,800 households, businesses, and other buildings are underserved in unincorporated Madera County, preventing residents from accessing the internet at speeds necessary for their work, education, telehealth, and other vital services. American Community Survey estimates show that about 5.2 thousand households in Madera County do not have internet subscriptions, and about 2.3 thousand households do not have a computer, creating barriers to equitable broadband. So this next slide illustrates the 12 proposed broadband infrastructure projects identified as part of the study. So as you can see, the top 4 projects are the projects that your board already approved as an agreement with CalNet last month to serve the top 5 identified communities in need. For the remaining projects, we're still looking at close to about $42 million on the low end to have what would be considered a fully served county. However, no fear. There are 4 potential funding sources available to our county to help us bridge our funding gap. So as you can see, there are many large upcoming federal and state grants that ISPs and other organizations can apply for to build the infrastructure, the broadband infrastructure that we need. So based on these funding opportunities, we have the potential to fund most, if not all, remaining project recommendations. The next slide outlines the proposed roadmap to execute our Madera County broadband strategy. So stage 1 is to establish a broadband program and pursue funding, which includes contracting a broadband program coordinator to work with the internet service providers to apply for funding for our priority projects. Stage 2 focuses on accelerating broadband infrastructure development, which includes assisting ISPs with grant award requirements and reporting. And stage 3 focuses on driving broadband adoption through ACP awareness and enrollment campaigns, device refurbishment programs, and digital literacy classes. So with that said, staff is seeking direction to explore options for funding a broadband program coordinator, which is outlined as stage 1 of the broadband strategy and roadmap study, and return to your board at a later date with recommendations. And we also have folks from our Boston consulting team here to answer any questions that you may have. Special thanks to Tristan that helped us get the grant that we needed to get the study completed. And we'd be happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Very good. Thank you very much. Colleagues, any questions, comments? Very well. Very good presentation. Probably, I know that there was a lot of questions and concerns that were answered during some other consultations and so forth with the with Boston Consulting. And so with that, I'll open it up to the public. Any members of the public? Any cheers? Anybody happy about it? It's like, this has been asked for like weeks, months, years, decades.
Yeah,
And anybody happy about this?
I am.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And with
Yeah.
that, I'll make the motion to approve. And thank you to Anthony and all the staff and the consultants for working on it.
Thank you.
All right. Is this an actionable item or?
Oh,
It's actually just to provide direction to seek funding opportunities for a broadband program specialist.
All right. So.
all right.
And
based-
Anthony, I know you're asking for direction to look into that, but do we have any information on that, like what that might cost, or are you hoping? to get
Yeah, so the
back?
position would be about a contracted 2-year position. It pays anywhere from about estimates between anywhere to about 80 to 100,000 a year. So on the higher end, about $200,000 for the 2 years, which would be an investment for these infrastructure projects that could potentially bring in, even if we bring in $1 million, 1.5 million, it would be considered an investment for the county.
And are we expected, if we are awarded some of these grants, are we going to be the recipient, or are they going to go to the ISPs?
It would be the ISPs.
Okay, so there would be no opportunity for us to get like a 10% admin or something like
No,
that? Just-
unfortunately not.
That would be nice, right? Okay.
Supervisor. Any comment? Okay, no comment. Okay. No, I just like to, again, point out, you know, that we have, that this is a great plan and we're looking at things. And also there's been a lot of discussion in regards to the Fairmead, Lavina, Eastern Arcola, Ripperton, and those are specifically shown as far as part of the projects that are underway. So I would hope that those communities would perhaps give us a thumbs up and acknowledge some progress being made. So with that, so in this case, now we do have a motion to move forward with the presentation. Is that, it's not an actual item, but would it be better to have a motion and move forward, or?
There's no harm in that, Chair.
Okay, good. Well, we've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any
To
comments from the
move
public?
forward with seeking the program and outreach coordinator.
All right. Any comments from the public? Hearing and seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamha,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Okay. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
all.
Thank you, everyone, for all your hard work on this too.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you. Let's move on to 6F. This is discussing consideration to adopt side letters of agreement with mid-management and service bargaining units regarding safety footwear reimbursement.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board, Roman Noriega, Human Resources. The item before you is requesting approval for side letters of agreement for the mid-management and service units to revert back to previous MOU language, to have all members required to wear safety footwear to be eligible for the reimbursement benefit up to $100. Currently, only the Public Works members qualify for this benefit.
Okay, very good. Any comments from my colleagues?
I think this is a no-brainer.
Okay, very good. Any comments from the public? I'll accept a motion for action.
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
I'm sorry, we're having technical difficulties. I missed. Who motioned
We Supervisor Wamhoff
and who
and
seconded?
seconded Supervisor McCauley.
I apologize. Supervisor Wamhoff,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to 6G, Avenue 25 Bridge Replacement.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Jared with Public Works. Item before you today is a contract award for American Paving to replace the Avenue 25 bridge. This is a project that we've been working on for quite some time, as some of you probably are aware. It's about a $4.5 million contract to replace that bridge. Estimated construction time is about 10 to 11 months, and that will have a full closure on that road during construction with a detour. It will actually save us some money on the contract to do it that way, as opposed to having some one-way traffic control.
Always working, brother.
And
I think he approves, Jared.
and just a couple other comments on that. This is a project that's funded through the Federal Highway Bridge Program. And so we will be reimbursed for 88.53% of this cost. And when I say reimbursed, I mean we will get paid back as we are able to claim that money. However, all the funding for this project will be fronted by the road fund. So funds that are in our road fund for road maintenance and those other things will be used to pay for this project ahead of time and then be reimbursed. So it will tie up some of our money to complete this project as a capital project. I think that's about all I have to cover on that. Available for any questions.
Very good. Any questions from my colleagues?
Good question. What is the reimbursement timeline, and are they done on milestones as we submit them?
Yeah, so typically we try to submit reimbursements monthly or bi-monthly, depending on the expenses that we have on the project. Obviously in construction, we get larger costs that we pay out for the contract. So we'll turn around and invoice those to the state Typically Caltrans is 30 to 60 days on their reimbursement on those, as long as everything's in line. So we're pretty successful in getting reimbursed, relatively quickly on those, provided we don't run into any issues with them. I will say one of the things that we can't control is sometimes there are changes in that process, forms, things that happen, and then we have to redo things and resubmit them. So, but our team has been pretty good at staying up on those things to be able to understand that process and get things turned in and reimbursed as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other comments?
I'd just say the team is pretty good at staying up, working long hours. On Saturday, I was actually driving to town and saw Jared on the side of the road, inspecting 222. At first, I thought it was just a constituent and I was going to be, in for an earful on Monday morning. But when I saw it was Jared, big relief. So thanks to Jared, thanks to the team for all the work you guys do.
He wasn't hitchhiking or anything?
He wasn't hitchhiking. No, he was inspecting a sinkhole over on 274. So again, on a Saturday, so never stops.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. Are there any comments from the public regarding this item? If you have a public comment regarding 6G, come on up. Well, you got to come up here, Ralph, because otherwise it's not recorded and people can't hear it on webland. It's on Avenue 25, I think.
Avenue 25 is a long avenue. We're at.
Over Ash.
Over Ash Slough.
So west of the city of Churchill.
Okay, I'm right there. Are you talking about up by on Road 13? And that one right there, where all that flooding occurred? They're gonna spend $4 million there. I'm familiar with that bridge. I didn't know it was in such bad shape. Is the state paying and reimbursing you or the federal government?
It's a federal grant or federal program through
Federal.
federal. Yeah.
You gotta watch out because sometimes the state doesn't have money and you do the work, you don't get paid. This used to happen in Italy.
Yep.
They do the work, they never get paid.
Right.
All right, I was wondering where it
Thank-
was. All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? If not, I'll accept the motion for action. It would be for all four items under 6G.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Wamha?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Chairman Poitras?
Yes,
Vote passes 4-0.
thank you. And let's move on to 6H. This is the introduction of ordinance amending sections 1035-70 and 1035-80 regarding the Madera Code related to speed limits.
Yes, good morning again, Chairman, members of the board, Jared Carter with Public Works. This item is to amend chapter 10.35 of the county code for our speed zones. We have gone through and updated the traffic studies related to various speed zones that are included in that chapter. They're required to be updated at regular intervals. And so this includes 13 segments that we did the reevaluation or update to those traffic studies, and we'll amend these into the code. And I believe there's not really any change in any of the speed limits that are on that study. Those segments that were studied, they were all came out to be essentially the same with the exception of one, which is just north of the city of Madera here. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions? Comments, thoughts, points? Any comments from the public? Hearing and seeing none, I'll accept a motion for action.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamha?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chairman Poitras?
Yes,
Vote passes 4-0.
very good.
Thank you. And just for clarification, so that was the first, and we'll set the second hearing.
Right.
Okay,
April
thanks.
18th, 2023.
Thank you.
Very good. Let's go to pending legislation, and we have several items. The first one would be 7A. This would be to ratify a letter in opposition of AB 1168. Mr. Varney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. This is a second go round, even though
it isn't part of this two-year legislative cycle. This idea was previously brought forth in front of the legislature. The board opposed it then. Basically, it waters down your ability to make sure that you are the provider of EMS services in the county. This actually, like many legislative things that come in front of Sacramento, has to do mostly with a problem that's happening in Ventura County between Oxnard and Ventura and some other entities. And for us is really not the way to go. The current law is also supported by case law, meaning this has been to court and it's been decided in favor of the way the law is right now. So this legislation would overturn case law, which is generally fairly unusual. It's pretty complicated. It's a 2.5-page letter. Do the best I can to answer any questions you might have about it.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions of Jay regarding this item?
No,
Any-
just thank you for bringing this forward. And I was on a call with CSAC. And it's just yet another one size does not fit all Band-Aid because again, it's in a different community that's trying to change the way that California doesn't entirely work. So thank you, Jay, for keeping up on top of this. I appreciate you bringing it forward.
Welcome.
Very good. Any comments from members of the public? Hearing and seeing none, I'll accept the motion for action.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamha.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Very good. Thank you. We have 3 more items that we added onto the agenda earlier on, so I'm going to take them in the order of the bill number from the lowest number to the highest number. So that would be Senate Bill 524. It's a letter request from Senator Caballero requesting our support.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a bill SB 524. It's introduced by Senator Caballero. It's a follow-up to a bill that she authored and was successfully passed previously, SB 409. SB 409 gave pharmacists certain authority to perform certain FDA-approved tests. The idea behind the current bill, SB 524, is basically if the pharmacist can give the tests and if the tests indicate that the people need a prescription, why can't the pharmacist just give them the prescription that while they're there rather than returning to a doctor to then get prescribed to then go back to the pharmacist? We know in our county anyways, we are having some issues with healthcare. So we brought this in front of the board for your consideration for forwarding this letter of support or not.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any questions of Jay regarding this item? Any members of the public have any questions? If not, I'll accept the motion for action.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamha.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Thank you. Let's move on to SB 621. Again, this is requesting support from Senator Caballero regarding to patient access to certain low-cost medications.
Thank you, Chairman. This particular bill, SB 621, has to do with making drugs which are now known as biosimilars more readily available. They are cheaper to produce. They have to go through the same testing and approval process through the FDA. And according to the fact sheet and the other information that we've been able to dig into ourselves, present no clinical meaningful difference from the regular name brand drugs. So basically, for me, I kind of look at it this way. You now have 3 tiers of drugs. You have the brand name drug, you have a generic, and now you have a third class called biosimilars. I don't know enough about the science to explain that portion to you, but apparently these are significantly cheaper to produce, and that would remove some cost effects of healthcare on all of us, and most importantly, on our citizens who have the least amount of access to healthcare. So we brought this forward to you at the Senator's request as a letter of support.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions from my colleagues?
I just have a minor correction on the letter. And the heading, it says bill title, and I think they just forgot to include the bill title, reducing prescription drug prices for California patients.
We'll edit that. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Any other comments? Anybody in the public wishing to make a comment? Seeing and hearing none, I'll accept a motion for action.
Motion.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor Macaulay,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers, sorry, Poitras,
We look a lot alike. Yes,
vote passes 4-0.
thank you very much. And the last item we have here is SB 870. And this would be also from Senator Caballero regarding the called the Hospital Closure Prevention Act.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Caballero initially put this bill in, I believe, as a spot bill. It's now has the full language to it. And what her hope for here is with the number of hospitals that are hitting, some level of threat of closure or have already initiated closing procedures. She's looking for about $1.5 billion statewide to help support rural healthcare and rural hospitals in particular. She's looking to find that money from a tax that was previously on the managed care organizations. I have no idea where that tax money was going or why they allowed that particular tax to sunset. However, the purpose of her bill is to re-energize or take away the sunset or put back into the code this tax and to redirect that money towards the support of rural hospitals. And that's pretty much the extent of the information that I have for you. I don't have how long this tax will go for. I just that the MCO tax is the one that she's looking to have put into place through SB 870 to help support rural healthcare through hospitals.
Very good. Thank you, Jay. And just as a follow-up item, and you said both these things in regards to why did it sunset and how were the funds allocated from before it sunsetted? Did they go this direction or were they allocated other areas? And so that would be a follow-up item.
And based on what we know, they were not going to rural healthcare and particularly to hospitals because this tax has never been brought up in any of our local discussions about issues the hospital has faced. And then I did fail to mention that this bill would also invest money in helping to solve our own problem by funding scholarships and things for people in the medical field to work in these areas.
Okay. Very good. Any comments from my colleagues?
Yeah, and I apologize if I missed it, but I mean, the managed care organization tax is that on managed care organizations, or I'm just not sure who's being taxed on this, and obviously that's an important piece of information.
Oh, right now, no one, but
Oh.
I don't have the answer for you. I don't know if it was a tax on the organization or if it was a tax on those who had managed care. I can look that up for the board.
I looked it up over the weekend and it was a little difficult, but they were talking about HMO and PPO programs. So I don't know if that's people like Blue Shield and Blue Cross and people like that gets taxed on this, but that's what I was able to come up with this weekend. So anyway, interesting. Yes, Supervisor.
I was just saying I agree. It seems confusing and I don't think there's enough information for me to determination.
I'm kind of feeling the same way there. Without knowing more information, I'd have a real tough time signing on to something. I'm obviously supportive of the idea of getting some money into the hospital, figuring out some sort of statewide solution to bring some funding in, but without knowing more information, very difficult.
Okay, very good. I was just curious, was there a deadline on this particular item in regards to going into committee? I know we received the request on Friday.
Yeah, we received the request Friday. They were requesting the response today. So I'm assuming that means that they're going to a committee on either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, but they did not specify. And we didn't, you load these electronically. And so I haven't gone to the website yet since the letter wasn't signed to see if it had the actual committee date on it. They just went back into session Monday, but it should be calendared already.
Gotcha. Okay. Maybe specifically? Go ahead, Supervisor.
Just wondering, because we're going back into closed session, is there a way we can have staff look it up, since it is timely? To provide that.
Before we answer that, Joel can explain how the MCO tax.
So just, we don't know how they will redo it because obviously the federal government has to approve it. But how the MCO tax used to work prior to it expiring is that the state taxed the managed care providers of Medi-Cal. So obviously they bill the federal government as part of the rate. Once those, so they just pass that through to their billing. Once those taxes come in, they funnel those monies to the general fund. So it's a roundabout way of billing federal so that they can change the classification of dollars, at the local level. So now, my understanding though is that the feds have to approve taxing managed care providers. So it may not be established as the way it was. That's why it eventually sunsetted because the feds didn't reapprove that arrangement. So just kind of like provide a little context on how it used to happen. But it is a tax on managed care providers that carry Medi-Cal plans. It's cost neutral to the plans because they just pass it on in their Medi-Cal billing.
Chairman.
Yes.
Yes, so the question would be if this is a tax being required for people who accept Medi-Cal patients, is this going to be one further regulatory issue that would prevent someone from accepting Medi-Cal patients?
We can't speak to how they're planning to reinstate it, Supervisor. As far as I know, the old version of it was a roundabout way for the state to change the color of general fund money by billing Medi-Cal. So that they can use, basically so that they will use less general fund in the state budget because they have to match Medi-Cal 50-50. But if they can add MCO tax and they just add that to the billing, then they found a way to swap the revenue at the general fund level. Now, it may not be, like I said, it's any MCO tax has to be approved by the federal government. So it may not resurface the same way. So we're assuming there's going to be more conversations on how the MCO tax would, but that's how it used to work.
So the idea with this particular bill would be an additional $1.5 billion for, and when I looked at, I think there was a press release that talked about this money going to, I don't know, like a dozen hospitals that are on the brink of closure throughout the state. And now what that means for Madera Community Hospital, I'm not sure because there's, many other issues, but I believe that that's what the idea was to increase some of the Medi-Cal reimbursements for those small hospitals. But how it comes, this is, we talked a lot about, somebody coming in to reestablish a hospital and, whether it's Madera Community out of bankruptcy or somebody else coming in or whatever it looks like, but it's still, it's at the beginning and end of the story, it's Medi-Cal reimbursement. So it would be, does this tie into that? Does this would this be a semi-permanent type of reimbursement that would help operations continue? That's really what it comes down to, because, there's a lot of things we can do, but without those Medi-Cal reimbursements, it's, we're dead on arrival. Yes.
And I think that's what it is, because from what I read, it sounds like it's only leveraging federal funds. And this had expired in December. So this is really just renewing that. So with that, I'm going to make a motion to approve this letter.
We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes,
Vote passes 4-0.
very good. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Jay. Let's move on to supervisor and staff reports. Supervisor McCauley, anything you'd like to report on?
It's sunny out. Thank you.
There you go. Supervisor Wamhoff,
I've got nothing. Enjoy the spring.
there you go. Supervisor Gonzalez.
No, just that Supervisor Wamhoff and I and Jay will be attending the CSAC Legislative Conference. And I did want to take the opportunity to ask staff, and probably already coming, because every time I ask staff for anything, they're like, we're already working on it. So thank you to the staff. We, with the hospital closure and our water issues and some of the emergency and natural disasters, I think it's a good opportunity to update our legislative platform. We also have 2 new supervisors on board that we should get their input on their priorities as well. So I think it's just a good time to start thinking about our platform so that when we do go to our legislative conferences and we meet with our representatives, we have the most up-to-date and the most up-to-date requests for them. So that's it.
Great idea. And we have our messages more focused and so forth. So great idea. I have nothing to report at this time. Mr. Varney,
Nothing to report. Thank you.
council.
No report, Chair. Thank you. Nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay, very good. And we are going to be going back into closed session. And thank you, everybody. We'll report out a closed session.